Picture this. Your phone lights up. It's someone you love, a friend, a family member, maybe a coworker you actually like. And they're calling you. For most people, that's completely fine. Normal, even. They pick up without a second thought, chat for 20 minutes, and hang up feeling energized. But for you, something shifts. There's this quiet, almost imperceptible tension that rises in your chest. Not because you don't care about this person, not because you're antisocial or avoidant or bad at relationships, but because somewhere in your nervous system, an unspoken alarm goes off. I'm not ready for this. So you watch the phone ring. You tell yourself you'll call back. And you will, eventually. But first, you need a moment. You need to think about what you're going to say. You need to feel prepared, not performed, just present. And a ringing phone doesn't give you that. So instead, you text. You craft a message. You choose your words. And suddenly, you're there, fully, genuinely there, in a way that a surprise phone call never quite lets you be. And yet, the world looks at that and says, why don't you just call? If you've ever felt quietly judged for this, like there's something slightly broken in the way you connect, this video is for you. Let's talk about what's actually happening inside you, because it's far more fascinating than you're just shy. Psychologists who study personality and sensory processing have identified something called high cognitive sensitivity, a way some minds are wired to process incoming information more deeply than others. Not slower, not worse, deeper. Think of it like this. Most people have what we might call a standard issue internal battery. A phone call drains it a little, recharges it with some connection, net result, roughly neutral. Life goes on. But for you, the battery works differently. Unplanned social interaction, especially voice calls, doesn't just draw energy. It demands real-time performance. The moment someone calls, your brain is suddenly tasked with listening, processing meaning, formulating a thoughtful response, managing your tone, reading their tone, and doing all of this simultaneously, without pause, without revision, without a moment to breathe. For a deeply wired mind, that's not a casual exchange. That's a full cognitive workout. Researchers studying sensory processing sensitivity, a trait found in roughly 15 to 20% of the population, have found that highly sensitive people actually show more neural activity in regions of the brain associated with awareness, empathy, and decision-making. You're not underreacting to phone calls. You're overprocessing them. And your preference for text is your nervous system's quiet, elegant solution. And then there's what we might call the observer effect. In quantum physics, the act of observing something changes it. The same is sometimes true for people like you. When you know someone is waiting, right now, in real time, for your response, something in you shifts. You stop being authentic and start being reactive. You say, yeah, totally, when you mean, I'm not sure. You laugh when you feel uncertain. You fill silence with words that don't quite fit. Texting removes the observer effect. It gives you back your truth. Here's what the world gets wrong about people like you. Your preference for text isn't a fear of connection. It's a standard of connection. When you send a message, you mean every word. You've considered it. You felt it. You've edited out the noise and left only what matters. That's not detachment. That's devotion. It's the communication equivalent of cooking someone a meal instead of tossing them a granola bar. The people who receive your texts, they're receiving something rare. Thought, intention, the quiet gift of your full, unrushed attention. There's a reason some of history's most profound thinkers, writers, and empaths were letter writers rather than orators. Lincoln, Einstein, Virginia Woolf. They understood that depth requires space, and space requires time. The medium you prefer, thoughtful, considered, written, is not the lesser form of communication. For a mind like yours, it's the superior one. Your internal battery isn't broken. It's calibrated for depth. And a world that mistakes depth for dysfunction has simply never understood the value of what you're quietly offering. Now, none of this means the world will suddenly understand you overnight. So here are a few gentle ways to navigate this. without asking you to be someone you're not. The first is give people a window into your world. You don't have to explain your entire nervous system to someone who calls unexpectedly, but a simple, honest message goes a long way. Most people, when they understand it's about quality, not avoidance, will respect this deeply, and the ones who matter will appreciate you for saying it. The second is create a text-first culture in your relationships. You are allowed to gently shape how people communicate with you. The right people in your life will adapt, and in doing so, they'll actually get more of you, not less. The third is release the guilt around the voicemail. That unanswered call is not evidence that you're a bad friend, a cold partner, or a distant child. It's evidence that you have a rhythm, and that rhythm deserves respect, including from yourself. When you respond thoughtfully, in your own time, in your own medium, you are showing up fully. There is a certain kind of person in this world who feels things before they say them, who needs a moment to find the true shape of a thought before releasing it into the air, who communicates not out of social obligation, but out of genuine, considered care. You are one of those people. And in a world that often mistakes loudness for confidence, spontaneity for warmth, and the phone picker-upper for the better friend, you may have spent years quietly wondering if your way of connecting was somehow less. It isn't. Your way of connecting is exact. It is intentional. It is a small, quiet act of respect for the other person, for the conversation, and for the truth. So the next time your phone rings and you let it go to voicemail, don't shame yourself. Just smile and know you'll respond when you have something real to say. And when you do, it will be worth every second of the wait.